Good morning. Boker Tov. Bueno. Shalom, shalom. You probably already know, but this is Ephraim, and I'm the overseer at the House of Ephraim, a Messianic congregation that loves Mashiach and follows the Torah of Elohim. I had an interesting experience last night and this morning that I just wanted to relate to the people, because I think there's some real value in genuine spiritual experiences that come from the Most High. And not that the first part came from the Most High, but you'll get it as we go along. So last night I was studying, doing something, and I fell asleep. I had my laptop open. I fell asleep, and the next thing I knew, I was in this dream, and inside the dream, something was trying to get me, and I don't know how else to say it because I can't remember the gory details, but something was trying to get me, and I was trying to get away. And it was one of those dreams that punctures the reality of the dream out into the natural, because I began to scream at this thing. And as I did that, my screams came out my mouth, and I actually heard them myself. And I woke up. And when I woke up, I prayed and did the best I could based upon what I could remember to sort of deal with the dream or anything that was in the dream. And then I got up and I went to bed. No problem. It's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have fallen asleep on the couch. And then this morning, when I was dressed and cleaned up and everything, I had this impression in my heart that I should take some time to pray specifically about some things. And one of those things had to do with the spiritual attacks or spiritual uncomfortable things that happen inside of dreams. And some of you may know what I'm talking about. I mean, sometimes people find themselves falling. Sometimes people find themselves under attack. They find themselves in tight spots or whatever the case is. And it's very disconcerting. It makes you really wonder what in the world is going on. What was that? Was it demonic? Was it, did I ate too much before I went to sleep, or whatever the case is? And it's up to you and Elohim to decide, which one of those it is. But in my case, I felt like there was some sort of spiritual wickedness trying to creep into my life, trying to impact me, trying to make me afraid. And I didn't like that. So the following morning, when I had my wits about me, I thought, hey, let me pray. And I don't do this, and please don't hear this as some sort of doctrinal thing, right? But I don't generally pray to the east. But this morning, I got the impression, and it was so mild, but I followed it, right? It was so mild to take out my compass and to find out from where I was located, which direction, as precisely as I could, would point me to Yerushalayim, or to Jerusalem. So I did it. And I just want to encourage you all that sometimes you don't know HalleluYah, you don't know the Spirit of Elohim is actually leading you. And so I did it. I got the compass out and I pointed toward Jerusalem. This looks like it was south, a little southeast of where I'm at, and of course a long distance. So I went to the window and I lifted my hands and I faced towards the bearings that my compass told me, and I closed my eyes and I began to pray. and something awesome happened. I started to see things, and those things encouraged my prayer to what I call doing the prayer, the glory days of Israel, when Yahuah was in her midst, and when Yahuah was speaking through his prophets, when he was ruining the will of our enemies, when he was doing what a good, righteous, powerful king ought to be doing. and all of this was happening, in my I don't know, mind, in a vision. I don't know what to call it, but it was so clear, and it encouraged me so much to ask that he be in the midst, and that he would bring back, because Israel didn't have any glory. Yerushalayim didn't have any glory of its own. It's only when the Father was there in the midst. It's only when his spirit and obedience to his Torah and the willingness for the people to follow him was there, when any flavor of glory or esteem was there. And so, as I'm praying this prayer, I'm realizing that he is linking me back. It's the same kind of idea of when we went through Yom Teruah, and I had that Zikron event. And if you watch that video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I was feeling like I was catapulted to a place in the spirit, so that I might glean something for right now, and I'd be able to not only benefit from it myself, but to share it with you all, that you might understand that the key to walking in the spirit, the key to walking in that place where there's shalom, despite what's going on around, is to have him in our midst. Moshe said it best, at least he said it so good that I always remember it. He said, "Arise, Yahuah, and let all your enemies be scattered. Let those that hate you flee from before your face." Now, if you grab a hold of those small pasuk, those small verses, and you understand what Moshe just said, he connected the presence of the Most High with the absence of the enemy. So anytime that I feel like the enemy is in my midst, anytime I feel like he's tinkering with, meddling with, manipulating anything that's going on around me, I'm saying, Abael, come, dwell richly in the midst and destroy the stuff. If we want to go to the Birkat Hashah, then you look in the letter that Yochanan wrote. He said, in First Yochanan, I believe, First John, he said that Messiah was manifested to destroy the works of the devil. So these things are consistent, and I want to encourage you, because the Most High really, really encouraged me to let his presence dwell richly in me, to desire it, to raise it up. I even felt a second wave of this when I went in my office and I began to pray some more. And he met me and put something in me, took something out of me, caused me to find myself in a greater level of shalom. And I just wanted to tell you all to be encouraged, because in the midst of this crooked and perverse generation, don't be afraid. Be a seeker of, a desirer of, a lover, a genuine lover of Yahuah Elohim, and let him give us that peace that surpasses all understanding. There's one more thing. So after I prayed, when I was facing the window and facing toward Yerushalayim, a psalm number came in my head. And, this might seem like you say, that's a Cain. He know where scriptures are at, and he just kept that out of his memory. And so, okay, if you want to go that route. But I heard Tehillim 138 in my head, and this is what it says. It says, I give you thanks with all my heart. Before the minor ones, I sing praises to you. I bow myself toward your set-apart Hechal, or toward the temple, or toward Yerushalayim. Now, you might think that that's something that my brain made up, but I know better. So here I am. I'm not a Jerusalem point of prayer guy. I pray, and I'll pray in whatever direction that I'm in, and I'll prostrate myself however it is that I prostrate myself. But oftentimes, most of the times, I don't concern myself with the longitude and latitude of the way my head is facing, as though somehow that's my key to getting through to the Most High. But this morning, I believe he called me to do it, and I obeyed, HalleluYah, and he gave me this psalm that says, and I bow myself towards your set-apart Hechal, and give thanks to your name, for your loving commitment and for your truth. For you have made great your word, your name above all. Which goes right back to what I was just saying a few minutes ago. It's his name, it's his presence that's really what we're looking for here. On the day I called you, you did answer me and made me bold with strength in my being. One of the reasons the enemy's having so much fun jacking up the set apart ones is because we lack boldness, and that boldness comes from confidence. Now, I'm not talking about arrogance. Arrogance is foolishness and pride, and it needs to be spit out. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the solid boldness that comes from knowing who your Elohim is and knowing who you are in your Elohim. Only he can teach it to you. I can tell you stuff. I can tell you stuff and most stuff. But ultimately, that thing that happens in your heart, I'm talking about this heart, that thing that happens in your heart is a work of Elohim. Hang in there. So it says in verse 4, in Tehillim or Psalm 138, let all the sovereigns of the earth, let's back up. Verse 3, on the day I called, you did answer me. You made me bold with strength in my beings. Let all of the sovereigns of the earth give thanks to you, O Yahuah, when they shall hear the words of your mouth. Remember when my prayer? Make it great like it was when your word was on the mouth of your prophets. When you were speaking to your people and showing them and teaching them and building them up in the most high faith that we are trying to lay hold of today. And let them sing of the ways of Yahuah, for great is the esteem of Yahuah. Okay, I don't know if I got to explain that. Though Yahuah is exalted, he looks on the humble, but the proud he perceives from a distance. So let me just capsulize that as this. Don't you think for a minute that you focusing on your strength, focusing upon your will, letting your desires lead you is the way to see forth, to bring forth the strength of the Almighty. Humbling yourself does not mean being a wimp or being a weakling, but it means being strong enough to trust him. Hallelujah. Though Yahuah is exalted, he looks on the humble, but the proud he perceives from a distance. Though I walk in the midst of distress, in other words, there's all kind of stuff going around all the time around all of us. Though I walk in the midst of distress, you revive me. You stretch out your hand against the wrath of the enemy. Remember that whole dream thing? You stretch out your hand against the wrath of the enemy. Remember Moshe? Arise, Yahuah, and let your enemies be scattered. Let those that hate you flee from before your face. So remember, these enemies that we have, their primary enemy is not us. Their primary enemy is the Most High. That's who they don't want to submit to. That's them. They're proud. They're arrogant. And he's going to deal with that. Why would the enemy and even the spiritual wickedness, why would they hate me? Why would they hate you? They might hate you and they might hate me because they hate our Father. Though I walk in the midst of distress, you revive me. You stretch out your hand against the wrath of my enemies. Your right hand saves me. Hallelujah. Yahuah does perfect me. Hallelujah. Oh, Yahuah, your loving commitment is everlasting. Do not forsake the works of your hands. Went back to the point that while I was praying, I recognized and spoke out that it's your work that's causing me to love you. It's your work that's giving me shalom. It's your work that's got me praying towards the east here. It's your work. And so that there's just like no way that I can take credit for this. And the psalm lined up so many elements of my prayer and the situation I found myself in. And I just want to bless him in the public. I just want everyone to know that Yahuah is still answering prayer. I want everyone to know that it's not just, for special people. So I don't want anyone to think that. But anyone who's humbling themselves and crying out to him, that he's going to answer. So be blessed. Walk in your blessing. Humble yourself in the sight of Yahuah, and he will lift you up. And tell all those wicked things that they better look out for the king. Because when the Most High comes through, they don't have a chance. So be encouraged. Be encouraged. Lift up your gates and let the King of Esteem come in. Hallelujah. And I'll see you next time. Shalom, shalom.